Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pain Train. Continuing on with my video game environment series, here's my top 5 ice stages and areas in video games.
Hopefully this is apparent from the title, but this is my list of favorites. This is heavily influenced by my own subjectiveness and biases, but I will try to explain as thoroughly as I can why each area appeals to me. Also, I will be upfront with the fact that I am a Nintendo fanboy, and as such, most entries are going to be from those games. However, I am limiting it to 1 entry per series for each video, otherwise certain series would dominate these rankings. I'm going to touch on aesthetics, level design, and music. Without any further ado, let's go!
Before we dive in, I actually have an honorable mention. Ice Cap Zone from Sonic 3 deserved to be on one of these lists, but I couldn't decide what category I considered it. Sure, it's got ice in the title, but it starts out as a snowboarding section. The floor is much more snow than ice, but there are mechanisms that freeze you and ice glaciers to push you, and also the cave is icy, so I'm conflicted. Whether you consider it an ice or snow stage, just know that it is fantastic and it's one of the best zones that Sonic has to offer. Okay, on with the actual list. At number 5, we have Tundra Man stage from Mega Man 11. The latest entry in the Mega Man series gracefully mixed the classic tight platforming with new and fun mechanics, and it does the same with each stage. It all feels very familiar, but they also throw in new wrinkles to help you stay on your toes. And on Tundra Man's stage, your toes will be slipping. A lot. Almost all surfaces are slippery. The stage is littered with pits and one-hit kill icicles. In several sections, the stage utilizes weather to push you around and slightly change the visibility via blizzard winds. For dealing with natural elements, many parts of the stage have a mechanical feel. I mean, we are dealing with robots here. But with all the images of dinosaurs and ancient fossils in the background, it seems to be a reference to the Arctic preserving fossils in the real world. The mini-boss of the stage is even a mammoth sort of robot. The music of the stage is fairly low but upbeat song filled with twinkling sounds and blasts of air that signifies Arctic wind. It intertwines this with the new age melodies that are present in the rest of the game. I don't have much negative to say about the stage. It's pretty fair, and though the stage is kind of long, the checkpoints are appropriate. The boss Tundra Man, for some reason, is some sort of professional ice skater. I mean, it makes sense considering the type of biome, but specific to the stage, it kind of lost the discovering ancient artifacts motif the stage had going. Regardless, the stage is a welcome addition to one of my favorite environments in gaming. Next at number 4, we have Stranded Ship from Shovel Knight. This stage starts off on slippery ice platforms guarded by enemies, with rocky structures and beautiful ice crystals filling the background. After some careful platforming, you will make your way onto the frigid ship. The vessel is filled with more ice platforms and also ice blocks to dig through. This stage has 2 new cool gimmicks. One is dropping snow in the air to cover deadly spikes, and the other involves a pretty ice statue depicting some sort of strange double-headed bird creature. If you stand on it, it sinks down, and if you jump, it raises up. But the best thing about it, if you hit it with your shovel, as it moves, one of the bird heads vomits out rainbows which you can stand on. Equal parts strange and majestic. Enemies include the tenacious spin wolves, snowball shooting wisms, and burly Viking-like tundrans, who can't be bounced on and will chuck spears at you. The song starts off low and ominous, but soon builds to be tough and rhythmic, like the waves rocking a ship. The boss Polar Knight is one of the best in the game, attacking with giant snowballs, icicles falling from the sky, and using snow-covered spikes on the ground to make careless movement and instant death. The stage is not your typical ice level, and its uniqueness lets it slide onto the list. Coming in at number 3 is Sector 5 from Metroid Fusion. Contrary to being an Arctic sector, much of this area is simply mechanical, with only about half of the rooms being super cold. Samus isn't even able to explore much of the area until she has the suit upgrade, allowing her to stand extreme temperatures. Once inside the cold section, it is a very subdued atmosphere, glistening blue and gray with icicles and frozen pipes in the background. The enemies include Blue X, Wavers, and Zeelas. These enemies will attack you if you wander too close, but are otherwise fairly slow and chill. The music is very quiet and relaxed, but with a slightly creepy feel, almost as if it's trying to emulate how the cold will cause you to fall into an eternal slumber. The sense of foreboding is done very well in this game for this section. You're taught early on to fear the cold, as through several events, Samus has become extremely susceptible to it. The main enemy of the game, SAX, stalks you with the Ice Beam, and once you leave Sector 5 for the first time, every subsequent visit will tease the sector's boss ominously roaming silhouetted in the background. The things holding back this stage are the fact that only about half of the initial area is icy, and that aforementioned boss of the sector not only has nothing to do with ice itself, but it destroys the sector before you battle it, making almost the entire area unfrozen. But the subtle and ominous nature in its frigid sections are perfect as an ice biome. In second place is 5-2, Frozen Solid and Chilled from Yoshi's Woolly World. Visually, this stage seems very Arctic Circle, with most of the stage being icy platforms that float over frigid water. The background has a very Northern Lights look, and the gradients of blues is very beautiful. When Yoshi moves, his feet turn into ice skates, and that is just adorable. The ice watermelon mechanic is back, and lets you freeze and shatter enemies, or push them into collectibles you need. There's also a section where you transform into a Yoshi and swim through the water, shattering ice blockades and gathering collectibles. There's also this really neat part where you swim up twin waterfalls, jumping between to get past ice blocks. Enemies include sprayfish, Nepanuts, and ice snippets. I was very surprised at how good the music was for the stage, starting off with echoing xylophones perfectly conveying being surrounded by twinkling ice. Once a synth kicks in, you know it's going to be a track for the ages. This, in my opinion, is the best stage in a fantastic platforming game. And number 1 goes to Ice Palace from The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Something about the ice physics of this dungeon makes it stand out to me as the dungeon where I have the most fun. In combination with the ice blue floors and the bright white icicle covered walls, it is much more vibrant than the rest of the Dark World dungeons. In an almost Metroidvania way, you'll be ascending and descending the floors, searching for keys and flipping the orange and blue switches. I always feel like I utilize more of my acquired weapons in comparison to the other strongholds in the game, excluding the final tower. The enemies in particular stand out in strange and sinister ways, from the Babasu, Freezors that can only be defeated with the Fire Rod or Bombos, and the Pengunators. I'm not gonna lie, they are a huge reason that this area is number 1. As some sort of cross between penguins and kappas, the way they waddle and dive at Link with their beaks lined with teeth always makes me laugh. The song unfortunately is shared by all the Dark World dungeons, and the final boss is an absolute joke, but at least it utilizes ice unlike number 3 on the list. Excluding those detriments, this labyrinth is by far the largest and toughest ice area on the list, and between the aesthetics, the enemies, and the puzzle solving, it claims the top spot.
So what did you think of the list? Who did I leave off? Who shouldn't be on here? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please drop a like, subscribe, follow on various social media in the description below. Keep an eye out for more biome rankings in the future. And as always, have a blessed day.